Welcome to the Work Wives and Real Lives podcast. I'm Katie.
And I'm Ava. We're two best friends and coworkers spilling the tea on business, boundaries, and all the beautiful chaos in between.
From workday wins to real life messes, we're talking through it all.
Unfiltered, unpolished, and always putting friendship first.
Think of it as your weekly catch up with your favorite coworker turned soul sister.
So grab your coffee
or your wine
and let's get into it.
Stunning.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Work Wives and Real Lives. How you doing? What's going on?
I am so excited to be here back again. We loved the feedback we got on our first episode. So thank you to everyone who listened.
Yes,
and
thank you, guys.
Joined our party.
Got to know a little bit more about us, some embarrassing stories. Long live my tampon in the wilderness. I hope everyone enjoyed that. RIP to it. You know, it's thriving somewhere.
It's thriving in the wilderness of Tennessee.
Exactly. And just like us, we are thriving. I hope you all are too and had a great weekend. Katie, what'd you do this weekend? Anything fun?
I had the immense pleasure of going on a camping trip with my daughter's Girl Scout troop. So
stunning.
That was I don't mind camping. Like we're fortunate to have a trailer. That's the only way I'll do camping. I won't do a tent situation. Luckily, this campground, everyone either did trailers or they had cabins you could rent.
That's good.
We brought ours. Yeah. It was fun. It was exhausting. It was kind of nonstop. And it wasn't the typical Girl Scout camping trip. It wasn't officially licensed by the Girl Scouts or sponsored, so alcohol was allowed.
Love that.
Official Girl Scout outings, you cannot have booze. So drink some good wine with some great friends.
I love that.
One experience that was challenging, though, is we did a horseback trail ride, and it was pretty intense. It was an hour and a half, and I had grown up riding like somewhat casually but consistently. I wasn't like an expert rider by any means. But it was like up steep hills, down steep hills, and an hour and a half of not getting off a horse. And when I got off the horse, my legs forgot how to move. Like I tried to take a step and I was like a baby giraffe learning to walk. Like my legs were like frozen in this.
She had sea legs.
I did. And it was like in this wide straddle, like awkward position. My vagina bones the next day. This is why I cannot do spin. And now I realize why. I had a Peloton for years that I would try to use. And every time the bones down in the lady bits would just get so painful. I had tried spin classes. Nothing worked. I don't know if it's the way my body's built, but like being on that horse, oh my God, I went to a yoga class the next morning.
Oh no.
And the stretching was so painful. I mean, it was actually nice to stretch everything
I was going to say,
out.
it probably felt good to stretch after all that.
It did, but even this morning, I was teaching a line, and at the end, we did like a frog pose. So it's a wide straddle to open up your hips, and I felt it to my core. And I even made a comment on it on the mic. I'm like, oh, the horseback riding's hitting.
Oh my goodness. That is great.
It was so funny. And there was a dad who was in our group. Like there was two brave dads, and the rest was the moms and the daughters. And this one dad who was in our group, it was so funny watching him try to walk too. Like it was an experience. But the girls had fun. They actually did really good because a lot of them had never rode a horse before. And it was a pretty intense ride for someone who's never rode a horse. So it was fun though. What'd you do?
I had a very boring weekend, but quick question. Was the horseback riding trail very similar to what we did in Puerto Vallarta on the donkeys or whatever they were?
Did we ride donkeys there?
We did. Camels? That was part of the zip lining excursion.
Oh my God, I totally forgot. There were so many animal adventures on that trip.
There were. We had
It
camels, we
was
had
it
donkeys.
was very similar to the donkeys. It was
Okay.
shorter, but it was like switchbacks up a hill.
Love it.
Um, so yeah, it was very similar. I totally forgot. I was so thrown off that trip of just the death by water slides and zip lines that I completely blanked that there were donkeys involved at one point.
Yeah, because that was the mild part of it all. Was taking these
That was the
donkeys
mild
up
part.
the mountain on this like crazy, very narrow trail. And then we had the wildest excursion of zip lines and then water slides. We propelled off a waterfall. We did a roller coaster that was a zip line that launched us into this huge body of water, and I forgot how to swim.
Yeah, so like talking about forgetting how to walk, Ava crashes into this body of water, which first of all, I'm convinced is like going to have parasites or piranhas or something in it. The
Nothing like a
water
good
was
tapeworm,
ice.
you know?
Nothing, right? The water was ice cold though, so I don't know if they can live in like super cold water. So you hit the water. First of all, they tell you you have to plug your nose with one hand, so that just makes me think of like amoebas going up your nose. But like you're going, I don't even know how fast. It felt like 50 miles an hour. And I'm holding on for dear life, right? You're not. So my nose did not get plugged.
No, neither did mine.
And Ava, I went first and then Ava came down and she hits the water and she just pops up and her face was like,
Ice.
her arms froze and they're like, swim. And we have life jackets on, but like, she didn't know how to swim.
We were fully clothed. We had our shoes on and we had the life jackets. We had helmets on. It was too overstimulating for me. My biggest fear was hitting the water because I knew how fast I was coming. And when we made that turn into the final drop, I was about to do like a full flip around. We actually do need to post that video on our social media for people to see because I did a fun little remix of it to Define Gravity of me.
I almost just spit out my wine.
The cannonball that I did into that water and then my face coming up, you just see like my life flash before my eyes and I'm just like flailing in the water, forgetting how to like use my body. And all I see is Katie's face just like horrified and like reaching her arm out to me. I was like, this is the end of my life here. This is the last thing I see. And I'm very happy it was your face.
Oh. Well, then we get to the final thing, and it's this massive water slide. So the rest of it was ziplining or kind of rappelling down ropes. And then it's a water slide. I'm like, great, easy water slide. Do these at Wild Rivers. Nope, it was not. They give you a full-on like hockey helmet, like a hockey mask, like a full mask on it. They give you elbow pads, and they give you this mat to lie on. And they tell you, keep your elbows in and just hold on for dear life. And I went, thank God for the elbow pads, because at the last turn, I swear they like soap that slide or something.
Oh,
like it was so slick. And the last turn, my body flipped full sideways. I slammed my elbow on the bottom. No. It still hurt like a mother, even though I had the elbow pads on, but probably would have broken it or something if I didn't. And after that, I was like, we need to go home. We're done. It was too much. But it was really fun.
Overall, it was a great time.
Overall.
Look at us.
Look at
risk
us
takers. We're one with nature. You know, that's one thing about us. We will keep things interesting no matter where we go. And when we were in Cabo on that same trip, so it was a cruise, we did camel riding. Every like activity we did had some sort of outfit involved. So obviously the zip lining had like the helmets and the hockey masks and the life jackets, whatever. That was really the least like outfitty thing we did. Yeah.
But then we did Cabo, and the horseback riding on the beach was sold out. So we did camel riding on the beach, and they give you like the camel garb to wear as if you were in the sands of Egypt riding camels around. No, you're on the beach in Cabo. And then the one we did in Mazatlan was a salsa. So we made salsa, which was actually amazing. And then you did salsa dancing. But of course, they gave you like a chef outfit to wear. Yes. Like the whole thing was outfits. It was actually perfect.
It was perfect. Um, Overall, great experience. But
Yeah.
you riding horses just took me back into that trip that we rode the donkeys into what I thought was going to be my final breath, landing into that body of
Really?
water.
We
Oh
died.
my
It was a
gosh.
spiritual experience.
It was. It was very healing. I had a different outlook of life from then on. It's good.
Yeah, absolutely.
But my weekend was non-eventful. I went to a baby shower, which was super cute, very sweet. I didn't really know anyone. It's one of the girls that teaches out here in Tennessee with me. She's super loving, love her. But she has a baby girl coming, so got to go to her baby shower, and then we just kind of hung inside, did chores, nothing exciting. But I will say, so as I was laying in bed, I had my blinds open and I see our neighbor with his wife, girlfriend, don't know, partner, whatever she is. They are doing a full-on photo shoot. So this man has a huge truck, like to the point where the wheels of it are probably almost to like my boobs. Like this is a massively lifted truck. And so I'm looking outside, it's dark, and I just see like a flash of light. I'm like, what is going on out there? They're doing a full-on photo shoot. This woman is straddling and sitting on the tires of this car, just like wind flowing in the hair flowing in the wind, and she has like her back just like arched and like pushing the booty out, and he's just on the ground like getting all the angles, and she's just like one-handed leaning backwards, just like having a moment. It was the best thing I've ever witnessed. I'm like,
you should have like filmed it and put it to influencers in the wild or something.
I should have. It was one of those moments where I was like, is this real?
Is this real?
Is this happening in real time? Is this what I'm witnessing? It's insane. It was wow, chef's kiss. I really need to scroll on the internet and try to find these photos because wow.
You do.
She was putting in all the effort. Yeah. 10 out of 10.
Get it, girl.
Get it, girl. You straddle that tire.
Speaking of work, there is one other thing that happened technically this morning, but I'm going to count it as this weekend. So Taylor Nation, actually, I don't know which one happened first. I think New Heights posted first, but so the New Heights podcast, which is Travis Kelce, aka Taylor Swift's boyfriend's podcast with his brother Jason, posted a surprise episode that's dropping on Wednesday, obviously the 13th. This episode is also going to drop on Wednesday. So we'll make sure that it happens probably before because I assume all of the internet's going to crash.
Yes.
At 7:00 Eastern time is when this is. So they posted a special guest, and Travis, the photo they used to promote it, for one, it has an orange background, and I think normally their special guest backgrounds are yellow.
Okay, you need to enlighten me about what the orange means, but
okay. So orange in like Swiftie lore is what she always ties her albums to a color. Okay. And so people are theorizing that orange is, for a while they've been theorizing orange is going to be the color scheme of TS12, which is her 12th studio album. And so based on like photos that she's posted in the past or like of recent late, that everything has some sort of like orange glow to it. There was also a theory, and we'll see if this comes to light, that she was supposed to release an album after 1989 that was going to be called Karma. And a lot of times she would drop at award shows, whatever she was wearing would tie, you didn't know it at the time, but it was an Easter egg for the color scheme of the next studio album. So at the Grammys, after 1989 came out, she wore this like really famous now pink and orange outfit.
Okay, yes.
And so everyone calls it like Karma Orange. There was this theory of this lost album, but then everything happened with Kanye West. And so she scrapped Karma and made Reputation instead. So the orange has been like out there for a while that was going to be the color scheme of TS12. Although so many years have passed, I'm sure the music's going to be a lot different than perhaps it was intended to be if Karma, the last album, was really a thing. So anyway, orange is in the background. There is a cutout of what appears to be a woman's body between Travis and Jason.
And it's clearly Taylor. Like those bangs.
It's clear. The Swifties already found the photo. Like they already superimposed a photo of her that like fits the exact outline.
Yeah.
And so Travis is looking at this, outline of a person, laughing, smiling, like his typical Travis when he sees Taylor grin. And then Jason's wearing a Taylor Swift merch shirt. So it's like super special guest is like, that's how they're promoting it. Her record label liked the post.
So all signs are pointing to Taylor.
Yeah. Within 10 minutes of that happening, Taylor Nation, which is like Taylor Swift's company that puts out her public posts. She also has a personal Instagram, but Taylor Nation does all kind of like the bigger ones. They posted a comment. It says like, oh God, it was like, remember when she said "See you next era" or something like that. That's how she signed off her Eras tour book, was "See you next era."
Oh,
there was 12 photos in the scroll. All 12 of them were orange outfits she wore on the Eras tour. So it's all photos of her at the Eras tour, all in orange. And if there's some math, and if you add up like 8 + 1 + 3, it equals 21. No, there was something like with the math. Date's always math back, and like 21 backwards 12. It was a whole, obviously that doesn't equal 21, but like there was a whole thing about people calculating that. So, I'm just so excited for Wednesday. And if we all are clowning, I will
get out,
be devastated.
Yeah,
get out.
So
anyways, that is technically not this weekend, but it happened this morning, and I'm very excited for Wednesday, not only because our second episode's going to drop, so tune in. And also when you do tune in, we would love it if you could leave us a review, hit subscribe. It'll help you get notified too when our new drops come out. So Wednesday's going to be a great day. Episode 2 of the pod.
We're just so in line with Taylor.
Thing. We are.
That is just beautiful. I love it.
Today's episode, so what we want to talk about is culture and how over-investing in corporate company culture can be really, I don't want to say disastrous, but it can be it can lead to toxicity. It can be dangerous. So we're going to talk about that. And so as y'all know, I work in the corporate world. Currently, I have for the last, all of my adult life. And then we're going to flip it, and we're going to talk about how to create positive culture within your own small business that you want a beautiful, amazing community at. But before we do that, we are going to move into our dramatic reading of the day. And just to set the stage. So this is the type of culture we do not want in our studios.
Yes.
And this is one for the books. To give you some background on this client, she consistently left class early and would say she had to go to work, or like there was always some excuse. But then she would just stay in the lobby and like hang out
and shop around.
She wouldn't actually leave.
She wouldn't buy anything, I don't think.
No.
Every now and then she would have maybe, but she would just leave early, very disruptive, shop around in the retail, and yeah. It was very interesting. She
would try to use like inappropriate equipment for that class. So equipment that we're not supposed to be using in that class. So we would have to constantly correct her on that. There's a reason if you take Pure Barre or most other, fitness modalities where if your instructor is telling you not to use something, it's for your own safety. It's not because they're just being assholes. So, that's just setting the stage on this person. And there had been several instances of this. And so Ava, being the great manager that she is, sent her what I think was a very kind and supportive
too kind
email. And this is a long one, so just buckle up. But Ava's going to hit us with the
there's
first one.
Lots of layers to this, so we're just going to peel it back. So we just got an overview of this client, and I sent her an email just saying, I hope you're having a great weekend, and congrats on celebrating your 50th class, because we literally just celebrated a milestone of hers of hitting 50 classes. Woohoo! So amazing.
Woohoo!
And we are so happy to have you part of the studio. To get the full benefit of the workout classes, we encourage all participants to stay for the entire duration of the workout and to avoid any disruptions. If you have any scheduling conflicts, please let your teacher know before class. Smiley face. Thank you. And again, we are so proud of your milestone accomplishment today. So very nice, just very kindly telling her, please, if you have to leave, let the teacher know beforehand, leave your stuff. Like we have certain protocols, normal fitness classes, any group fitness class has their protocols as far as if you have to leave class early because it just kind of disrupts the flow with the teacher, but also clients in class.
But also it shouldn't happen every class. And literally this was almost every class. Like we understand one-off things, you have to leave early, but like if you're consistently having to leave early from every class, like this time is not the time for you to work out.
No.
And this is why I debate that she actually had to leave for work because she wouldn't actually leave the studio, which is just, the whole thing was just strange.
Also strange. So her response back was, I pay $200 a month and frequently shop at your location. I did speak to the instructor and the person at the front desk prior to class. I do not appreciate how I'm often treated, even as a paying member. I want to cancel my membership. Clearly, my schedule is a conflict. Please begin the process to cancel my membership. Send me whatever I need to fill out, and when I signed up, I was told this is month to month, correct? And then she just kept going on about the terms of the cancellation and getting charged a final fee, and that she filled out the paperwork, yada, yada, yada. And then she proceeds to write a review of our business.
On Yelp and Google.
Very rude comments were made on her end, attacking our teachers, especially attacking appearance and weight.
She attacked clients, called the client base in general a certain way, and it was the straw that broke me. So keep in mind, I am at my cousin's engagement party. This is Saturday night at around 9 p.m. But I'm fired up. I get my thumbs out with my nails at this bar in North Hollywood.
She's ready to
go. I'm ready. I am locked and loaded.
North Hollywood. I love it.
A couple whole glasses of wine, and I'm just ready. So this is my response to her. Thanks for your incredibly offensive review of my staff and clients, merely being asked, extremely politely, to abide by studio terms and not leave 15 to 20 minutes early before a 50-minute class ends. Your $200 per month does not entitle you to act as if you own the studio and behave in whatever way you wish, and frankly, I've had enough. When I drop a frankly at you, like, you know it's on.
It's scary.
It's scary.
It's a scary time.
You are no longer welcome in my studio and can take your abhorrent behavior elsewhere, because she had asked when her last day would be she could take class. And I was like, you're done. Be gone. Your last payment has been refunded because clearly $200 means incredibly more to you than it means to me, and your membership has been canceled effective immediately. Kindest regards.
Basically a F you. Basically is what that says. Her response is, hi, thanks for your email. When is my refund going to be processed? You mentioned my cancellation is effective immediately. However, I do not see a refund on my account.
She spelled effective wrong, by the way.
Of course.
I'm like, girl, it is Saturday night at 9 p.m. For any refund, from any business in at least the United States, it takes 3 to 5 business days to see a refund on your account. That is standard banking procedure. I do not control the banking. I'm like, so in essence, I respond to her with that of, bitch, when you think you're going to get this $200, it's 9 o'clock on a Saturday night, go away. So
goodbye.
Enjoy. Goodbye.
Goodbye. And that was the end of that until
she
creeped back up last week.
This all happened in January
Yes.
of this year.
Yeah. And we got a new communication system put into our studio that we use. And there was a generated email that went out for her birthday, just inviting her back. This is just like a generic email that is sent out to the ether. If they're not a member anymore, or if whatever lead type they are in our system, they will receive this email of an offer of X% off their first month. And she emails back and tells us that she will remove her review if we allow her back into the studio. Immediately no.
So we are being blackmailed by this one. First of all, I could give two shits about Google and Yelp reviews, let's be honest. I did respond to them, and we had a lot of people report them because they were like straight up body shaming. And what I will say about like strength and health and wellness is that looks so different on anyone. So just because someone isn't like a paper thin, whatever version someone might have of skinny, that does not equate fit. There are so many girls like with amazing, beautiful, different girls, men, people with different body types, and they are some of the strongest people and healthiest people out there. So
absolutely,
skinny, being a twig, like that might be right for someone's body, and they might be very fit and very healthy and very strong, but also someone who doesn't fit that mold could be equally, if not more. And so the body shaming is just what really killed me. I felt so bad for the people that it was targeted towards that read it. And, you know, I myself am not, you know, whatever her version of skinny is. And, you know, I again, I don't care about this person. So it kind of bounced off me, but it was just like when you bring my staff and my clients and people that I care about into it, that's what really set me over the edge. So, but the getting the email from her blackmailing us, like, if you take your Google or if you let me back. And so we were like, no, you are not welcome. Goodbye.
No, like per our communication. No. No, basically.
Yeah.
But anywho, I hope you enjoyed this week's email segment. And it really does tie into what we're going to be talking about with toxicity in the workplace and just culture wrapped around that. And so moving into our next segment of dangers of overinvesting in corporate culture, Katie spoke about how she's been in the corporate world for her entire career and adult life. And so I just wanted to kind of interview her and ask some questions about how to create healthy culture in small businesses or even side hustles, and just things that she may have experienced throughout her career. Some overinvesting corporate culture that we tend to hear is, or what we've been told, quote, "We're a family. Culture fit is everything. You're so lucky to work here and bring your whole self to work." There's some toxicity in that, depending on how it's being delivered, right? And also why it's a problem, creating blurred boundaries, emotional labor, guilt when leaving, just all things we're going to go into. But Katie, how do you go about setting clear roles, boundaries, and expectations for your team?
Yeah, I think one thing in particular that was really hard for me at my last job, and the last place I worked was, it's a great company, really great people. But I think the problem for me there is I became so overinvested in the people and the culture that, and it's not anything on anyone there. It's just I allowed myself to become like so ingrained that it made it hard for me to realize when it was time to leave. Like when I had outgrown the company, when the culture was no longer fitting my style, because I started there right out of college, and you change, you grow over 13 years. And I was growing in a way that no longer fit the culture that the company was trying to foster. And, one thing you said is bring your whole self to work. I 100% object to that idea. That was something that was, it's not unique to this company. It's common culture, talk, but this was something that I ran up against a lot in my job towards the end. Is my team found me like I wasn't vulnerable with them, that I didn't really want to dig into my personal life. And I'm like, no, and that's intentional. Like, I'm here to do a job. You report to me. I don't have to tell you what's going on in my house. I don't have to share. I don't have to be vulnerable with you. I am in meetings for 7 hours straight, which I was at this company every single day. I don't have time. And beyond that, I want to be able, we talked a little bit about on last episode, the danger of being friends with your coworkers, or in this case, your subordinates, which I hate that word, but it's lacking a other word for it. But I wanted to create clear boundaries with them of like, I am your manager. I will support you at work. If you want to talk about your weekend, if you want to talk about your dog, if you want to talk about your kids, I'll ask, I'll prompt you, but that doesn't mean that I have to reciprocate. Like, and I think that that was something that was really tough for me is, it is okay on one hand to be like, I do think it's helpful to have friends where you work. Like, you want to go somewhere every day and you want to be happy with the people you're working with. But when you're friends with everyone, or you're so loyal to the people that you don't want to make a selfless decision for yourself to leave because it's the right thing to do because you care about how they're going to react. And then on top of that, your team's like, she's not vulnerable, she's whatever. Like, I didn't want to be, and I don't have to be. And I think that that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And there were certain people in the company I was really close to, and I, like, towards the end, I did have those relationships with, but that doesn't mean that I have to have it with everyone. And so I think that that's just something really important to remember, is that you are allowed to set your own boundaries. You are allowed to say no. I actually have a newsletter on Substack. And my last week's article was about the power of saying no and how to do it. And I think that, when you do have those blurred lines of like, we're a family, first of all, they're telling you we're a family, and that's a reason for them to feel okay about overworking you, because you're doing it because you're there. You're part of the family. Like, everyone's in it. You think about your work life at home, right? Like, you're a unit, you're all working together. Like, you'll pull the late hours to take care of your kids or take care of the dogs, or like help your spouse out with X, Y, and Z, because you're a family, you're all in it. That is a very dangerous language to use at work, because you're not a family. They will replace you in an instant. They have to. The business has to keep going. And I felt that when I left my last company. Like, I was there for so long. I thought it was such a crucial component of our team, of the company. And the job posting got posted before I even left. I get it, being on their side of it. Like, they have to fill the position. They have to keep the work going. If I died tomorrow at my current company, they probably have the position for my company posted. I'm going to say died. If I won the lottos, is what I like to say.
Yeah, we're not going.
If I won the lotto tomorrow and quit my job, they would have my job posted within probably 24 hours.
Yeah.
Like, so you're not a family. It's a business. Everyone's there for a certain reason, either to collect a paycheck, contribute to the bottom line for shareholders, contribute to the bottom line for the CEO, whoever it is that owns the company. Like, you are not a family. You can have friends and you can feel supported by your manager. You can feel supported by the people around you, but you are not a family unless it's literally a family business. Totally different story.
Right.
So yeah, that was a rant. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
No, I love everything that you said, because it is really hard. I feel like we are in a society where we're huge people pleasers. And so, especially in the workplace, that's something hard to try to create a boundary with, and something I personally struggle with, which we'll talk about. But I love how you're able to recognize that boundary right away and just kind of take your personal life out of it and say, no, this is my job. I come here to get my work done. Yes, I'll be friends with you, but I don't need to share my entire life with you.
And people ask me like about my current job now that work there. And I'm honest, I say I like it. Like, the people are great. I like the work, but I'm intentionally creating more boundaries than I had at my last place, because if something no longer serves me in that role, I want to feel okay walking away, and I don't want to stay there longer than is probably best for me or best for the company. Because when you're so detached and you're ready, like you're feeling drained with what you're doing, or whatever the circumstances around that, maybe you're probably not putting in your best work either. And I probably wasn't at the end. And so that's not beneficial to the company, right? Like they have expectations for what they want to get out of you.
Mm-hmm.
And so having those boundaries in place now moving into this position, like for me, it's strategic and protecting my own space, my own decision-making ability of not being clouded by what ties I might feel to specific people or the company, because they view me, I'm a number on a spreadsheet to the company. And so they're the number in my bank account to me, like I get on my paycheck, right?
Right.
So I think for me, I'm keeping it more transactional. I'm definitely like, I have friends, in the office, but they're not people I'm like, at least majority of them, like I'm not going to get super deep ingrained in it just because I want to make sure I'm staying clear-minded on where I'm at. And if that ever changes, that I can recognize that in that moment.
No, that's really good. And kind of bouncing off of what you said is how you're basically a number on a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
How do you feel like fulfilled in your job? Or are you looking to like outside sources outside of work for that fulfillment? Because I know personally, I find a lot of fulfillment in my work, and anytime the studio succeeds in something, I feel like I
Yeah.
succeeded. So how do you kind of like separate the two?
I feel fulfilled by my contributions and like
Mm,
what I directly do, and not because it's like I feel a personal sense of accomplishment of when I get something right at work, and that was a win for me. It's also a win for the company in most cases, but like recently there was this massive spreadsheet I was asked to develop, and I went to my manager and I said, "Hey, can I have someone on the analyst team like help me? I want to add some macros in, and I'm not good with macros. Like you've hit the limit of my Excel ability." She's like, "Oh, I don't want macros in the spreadsheet. Like just break it down, figure it out." And it was all these different calculations, references, polls I had to do. I spent probably 2 or 3 days on this spreadsheet, but when I figured it out, and like in the moment, I'm like, God, I've just been staring at this Excel document for days. Like, what am I doing? But then the second it clicked and I figured it out and it worked, like I tested it, she tested it, everything worked. I was like, I felt so accomplished in that moment. Because now this is a model that the rest of the department gets to use and I get to say that I made that. And so like
that's
for me,
cool.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Um, so
No, that's really good. And kind of ties into my next question. What are some ways you celebrate wins without making work someone's whole identity?
yeah, I think just recognizing the win, being proud of it, and then a little bit of what you had asked before of finding things that might fill your cup outside of work. Like people might knock a side hustle or trying something new that's outside of the realm, like, but that is where I get to be like most creative. And not
Mm-hmm.
to say that I can't be creative at work, but there's definitely guardrails around that, right? Like they have, limitations in what they're open to, ways they want to do business. And, my manager's great where if I pitch her an idea and she says no in a very like gentle way, I'm just like before I might have fought back against that a lot. But I'm just like, okay, like I'll move on to the next thing. And I get to test myself creatively now outside of that. So whether it's with my Substack, with the studios, with the podcast, like it's allowed me more mental space and like having those boundaries and being okay, just kind of being creative where I can, but under control with the company. I get to be kind of out of control with that outside of work. And that's really helped fill my cup a lot.
With encouraging life outside of work with different things that fill your cup, how do you model that as a leader?
I definitely encourage people to support their passions. I think, I'm not under any sort of like impression that my life is normal and that like people can do what feels like 5,000 jobs at like people ask me all the time like how do you do it all?
Right.
I create structure and mental space and schedule. Like I very like
Mm-hmm.
intentionally plan out my schedule, like all 24 hours a day, 7 days a week because of that. That doesn't work for everyone, but even if it's not a side hustle or something you ever think might make you money one day, if it's painting, if it's walking your dog every day, like set a priority for yourself, going to the gym. There are ways to at least like focus on self-care, even if that's not like creating some sort of separate like monetary stream for yourself, which I do think is important. And a topic we're going to get to another podcast is how to create walkaway power. Um, but even if it doesn't look like one of those things, like maybe you're cool where you're at or you don't know where to start or whatever, find something that supports you outside of work. Because again, and again, it might not be money, it might just be emotionally, mentally. Because when you allow work to just become everything and you just come home and you're just like a couch potato, which maybe that is the way you fill your cup. Like that's fine too. I definitely love a good rot session on the couch. Um, but find whatever it is that fills your cup so that your cup's not, your life shouldn't be fully like driven and motivated by what you do at work. Again, unless it's maybe a little bit less if it's, your own business, you're an entrepreneur, whatever. But if you are, even so, I would still recommend that. But if you work for a company that you don't own, especially, it's really important, I think, to find something outside of that that grounds you and that drives you and you can be creative with.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. And no, I love hearing all that too. And I think that's kind of what being your friend and also um you being a leader of mine too in the workplace is seeing you take on all these different areas that fill your cup and how much it like fulfills you and how you're able to still be a mom, still be a wife, and be present in your friendships, and still have your 9 to 5 and doing all these extra things outside of work that is meaningful. It's really cool and inspiring to see, and it inspires me
mm,
because I'm the type of person to put my full identity into work, into anything I do. And I feel like that's come from just how I grew up too in a world of dance and ballet, and we'll get into that later. But it's really cool to see how you're able to create that boundary and create that separation, and still be an awesome kick-ass leader through it all. Um,
mm.
so how can you explain to other leaders or encourage leaders to create a culture rooted in value rather than in perks?
Yeah, this is one thing I think with COVID, especially people in my last company too, really leaned into work-life balance. And I do think work-life balance is incredibly important. But what I think is problematic in a corporate setting now, being on the other side of it with a hybrid work policy or even a fully remote policy, which I never had except for in the height of COVID, is it becomes when your home becomes your office.
Mm,
And you are probably very accustomed to this.
yep.
You always are on because you're used to just, this is now my workspace.
Yep.
And so there were times where I'd be on calls because, half of my department was on the East Coast and I was trying to move up and eventually oversee the entire coast as my, manager at the time hopefully was going to move up.
Yeah.
Um, I would start joining calls at 6 a.m. or my manager would start asking me questions and I don't fault her for that. Like, I just think it became easy to recognize that, oh, everyone's accessible at all hours because they're home and because they're working from home. So while at my current job, I think what was an adjustment is that there are 5 days in office and if things come up and we have to work from home one day because of, childcare or like this morning I got in late because our contractor came over and I had to meet with him. They're flexible with that, but they are also very intentional of like, we expect our people to work. They're also all on the West Coast, so that helps. But like, we expect our people to work from 9 to 5, and no one emails you or calls you after those hours. Like, I don't think I've ever, I think the
What a
earliest email I've
dream.
ever gotten was like 8:30 in the morning. Yeah. And so while I'm physically home less, I'm like mentally more present because I have not taken my work computer home once, except for on a day I knew I had to work from home the next day because of a childcare situation. And my phone, I don't even check anymore because
No.
people just don't. And so I really do appreciate that of creating with leaders, like intentionally setting boundaries and also taking a step back to reflect and say, hey, did the boundary lines get blurred, and like can we adjust, because everything's fixable. And I think, even one thing my manager told me in my last job is I was notorious for working on vacation, which now I completely regret. There was so much mental time and physical time I was taking away from my family on vacations
Mm-hmm.
because I loved my job and I was so passionate about what I did, and I wanted to make sure the business was successful because I cared so much. But it also, she had said, which I think is very true, that sets some sort of expectation for my team. Like, even though you're good with it, even though you're okay working on your vacation, it sets the expectation for them, like, that they also should be working on their vacations. And like, that was a bad model to set. And so it was a learning experience for me, certainly. And the last year, I would say working there, maybe not even last year, maybe the last 6 months, but I remember the last couple of vacations I took before I ended up leaving that company. Both my manager and one of my direct reports commented like, oh, we didn't get any emails or calls or texts from you. I was like, yep, I turned everything off. I left everything at home. And those were some of the best vacations.
That's growth, baby. I love
That's
that.
growth. See, I do listen to feedback if my former manager's listening. I did listen to that piece of feedback. I did it. Well, let's flip the script and let's talk a little bit about how you can create a positive culture in your small business, or wherever you are working on perhaps the side to fill your cup. So I'm going to twist it. And Ava has just done the most incredible job of building a culture and a community at the Tustin studio and, at RSM, which is our newest studio, of creating a culture of just belonging. And people comment on it when they visit from other locations too, or whatever. Like, you just have a vibe here. And that's been very intentional and something that she and I both care about, but something that I will attribute to her because she is the one doing it all there. So, we talked a little bit already. Yeah, we talked about clear roles, boundaries, expectations.
I have zero boundaries. I'm the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're getting better. You're getting better.
I'm trying.
But I think like even just the positivity, like maybe talk a little bit about like how we kind of got to this place of creating this culture within the studios that's become something people really value and appreciate.
Honestly, it started with the original owner of the studio. She's the most kind-hearted, beautiful human being ever. And just seeing how she interacted with clients and truly cared really set.
And then they got me.
And then they got you. No, you care so much too.
No, I keep talking about her. She is the most amazing human.
Yeah, she's an angel sent from above, and she truly is. But she really set the tone for the studio, and kind of based upon other companies and people I've worked for, I've been very blessed in the sense where I've been surrounded by managers or owners of companies that have done a really good job of creating culture. Now, I haven't worked in a huge corporation like Katie. I've worked in smaller, small business owned companies, and I've just seen how those successful owners and operators have created something from nothing into what they are now. And it's all based upon how much they truly care from the staff. And from the staff, it just kind of explodes into the clients or wherever you are in your business. And so I just really try to model that and just trying to get to know our staff on a different level. Like, I'll ask them about their day. I'll um, chat with them all throughout their shift. I'll FaceTime them because I'm doing this virtually from across the country. And if I weren't across the country prior, I was in the studio every day, just either taking class or just making sure I was present and there for the staff, but also for our clients. And I just have the personality where people will come up to me and just tell me anything. I'm just like,
You really do. You attract any sort. So she has an incredibly approachable face. Like she
I mean,
just
look at me.
people find her and
They
they just are
do.
like, you know what? This woman will listen
She
to me.
will listen real hard.
And they have me, and I have the least approachable face, as I've been told. So it's funny mix. I think one thing that was really cool. So one of my friends watched the first episode, and she doesn't go to Pure Bar. She doesn't live in the area, but she said after she didn't even realize till she watched that episode that you don't live in Tennessee.
Or
And
in California.
or I'm sorry, in
Yeah.
California. That you lived in Tennessee, like, because you're so present, and I think that you've really done a good job of creating that. There were some people that, like, when Ava would meet them for the first time after she'd move, when she would come back and visit, they like thought she was like a chat bot,
I'm like, I'm
like
real.
texting her.
Yeah.
And we're like, no, she's a real person.
Yeah. I think it honestly comes down to um, if you're in a smaller space like we are with, I don't know how many employees we have now, like 40, 30, 40.
30, yeah.
Um, I make sure that I get to know each and every single one of them. Now, if whether it's in person or sometimes I don't catch all our instructors, but when I am in person, I'm with them, I'm asking them about their life. I want them to
Oh
feel
yeah.
comfortable in this space because I've been in situations where I wasn't comfortable in the workplace, or it didn't feel safe. And like I said, I've been in smaller companies, and so I just want to make sure everyone feels valued in that sense and that they can come to me about anything, even if it's something outside of work. I've had team members call me about something very personal going on in their life, just needing a sounding board to talk to,
Yes.
or they just feel comfortable enough to like let me know what's going on in their life and just setting a expectation that, hey, there's going to be some coverage requests coming through. I really appreciate that honesty. And I try to be somewhat honest too with what's going on in my life sometimes. And that's something that came up in our last team meeting. I was really set on being stern with them about, like, hey, these are things that we do as a studio to kind of show you appreciation for what you do more on a compensation level. But then I just started bawling my eyes out, crying instead. But I think that was a raw moment for them to see someone of their, I guess, management higher level kind of break down in that sense of like, I care about you guys. I want you to not feel like negative coming into work because we all have those days where it's a job. I understand that. But I never want people to feel that consecutively. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think the difference is like, it's totally okay. Like, back to what I was saying earlier, it is totally okay to be vulnerable with your team, whether it's in a corporate setting or a small business setting. But I think it's also okay to have boundaries if that is not something you're comfortable with. So for
Right.
me, like, that is something outside of my comfort level and something I wasn't willing to do with my entire team. Um, I chose people at the company that I was vulnerable with. Um, Whereas Ava, that is something that's more in her comfort zone and
Mm-hmm.
something that she wants to foster. And so I think you don't have to be a certain way. I guess what we're trying to stress is that you can have boundaries and you can be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And it's okay to find the intersection of those two as well. So, and I think one thing also we've done, as you can tell from our emails, is um, we don't because we want it to be such a positive, uplifting place to work at and to take classes at as a client.
Mm-hmm.
I have fired members. Clearly, you're going to hear about a lot of those. I have also fired staff that were not contributing to the toxic environment, or that we're creating a toxic environment that we don't want to have part of our studio. So even if that means we're scrambling, we're canceling classes, like, I don't put up with bullshit, and I will fire someone on the spot if they're, you know, not the kind of person we want in our studios. So
Absolutely. So biggest thing is just knowing what culture you want to create within your business, and especially us being in something smaller, it's very apparent when someone's sticking out like a sore thumb, and um, our staff feels very comfortable in reporting to myself or Katie in those types of situations. And it's always funny because those toxic staff members always question the like, how did they find out? How do they know this? How do they know that? I'm like, our staff appreciates us and they know the culture we're trying to create within the studio. And so they will let us know.
I will say every one of those circumstances were also paired with some areas of underperformance or not showing up physically to work, not, doing what they're supposed to be doing at work. And like I said earlier, I think that ties back to when you're in a toxic environment and you're not happy, or you're ready to go, but you don't know how to go, or you don't think you can go. You're probably not giving your best self to work either. And so all of this, the people that we have had to let go, it wasn't just because they were creating a toxic energy. It was because they also had performance issues. But I think those two a lot of times go hand in hand. So,
Absolutely.
do we want to move into a quick reality pop culture
Yes.
recap?
Well, the whole segment of us talking about toxicity in the workplace and whatnot really ties into what I watched this past week, and that's the toxic relationship of Belly and Jeremiah. Yes, the summer I turned pretty. If you are up to date, or if you're not up to date, these are going to be little spoilers, so maybe fast forward, whatnot. We'll have little timestamps. But Belly is about to marry Jeremiah, and Katie doesn't watch The Summer I Turned Pretty, so kind of the backstory is there's these two brothers, Connie and Jeremiah. Belly is a family friend.
Is this the main character?
Yes, Belly is the girl. That's her name.
So just quick note, Ava and our other bestie Kelsey have been begging me to watch this show forever. And I finally started the first episode today while I was getting ready in the morning. And within 10 minutes, there was 2 Taylor Swift songs. So I was like, okay, vibe with this. And then her aunt was like, or I don't know if it's aunt, like family friend or whatever.
Yes.
At the house they're staying at, was commenting on how much she's grown up and like how beautiful she is. And she goes, "You're in bloom." And I'm like, oh, this is so cringe.
Oh, it's the cringiest
I stopped watching
show.
It after that.
It's the cringiest show you'll ever watch, but there's something about it that just like brings you in, and oh my goodness. So essentially Belly is in love with Connie. Connie is also in love with her. Throughout the seasons, they were dating. They broke up because basically he was depressed because his mom died, and Belly was like, goodbye, you're being annoying.
How many seasons are there?
3. I do not like Belly. She is, which I'll talk about, a slob. And also she's been with both brothers, which I have a funny story. I have been with brothers before. We'll talk about that. But so she, in the last season, season 2, the ending of that, she got together with Jeremiah, and now her and Jeremiah are about to get married. And now she's having to be in the same home as Connie and Jeremiah. And
how old is this girl? Because isn't she like 15 in the first season, or is there a time lapse?
There's a time lapse.
Okay.
Right now she is, I want to say 20, no, she's 21 because she just celebrated her 21st birthday.
Okay.
Anywho, so her and Connie this last episode were alone. She is running errands for the wedding because Jeremiah is a piece of shit and is not helping her out. All he cares about is this freaking 70% cacao cake. And it's $750, and the ring he got her might as well have been 75 cents. Like, you can't even see it. It's like
cute.
It's not cute. It's awful. But anywho, the last episode was basically Connie is narrating, and we haven't had him narrate an episode yet. And so this is all Connie's version of what's going on in his head while he's living in the same house again with the woman that he loves, having to watch her prepare to get married to his brother. Yeah.
Juicy.
What else is juicy?
One day catch up.
Speaking of juicy, though, there was a scene where she's eating these peaches and it's all over her. And the scene that is on everyone's lips is Connie baby taking his shirt and wiping the peach juice off her mouth. It's just, mwah.
He should have been repulsed. If someone ate like that as an adult in front of me, I would show them the door.
Basically, me.
No, I literally, oh my gosh, I have a great photo of Ava eating. It's classic. I love Flaming Hot Cheetos. She is. I love Flaming Hot Cheetos. They're like one of my vices. I eat them with a fork because so tip on this, you have to use a plastic fork because a metal fork will break them in half. The plastic fork, the grooves of the fork like move around and like perfectly cradle the Cheeto. I don't like my hands being dirty. I don't eat ribs. My kids are like slobs and a half, and it drives me insane. Like, I'm like, can you eat? Like, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sending them to Cotillion. I never went to Cotillion, but for some reason, I am a perfect eater, and these children are feral.
I'm a feral human being.
If someone, oh my God, no, that he should be studied. That's concerning.
Well, right now, he is the man on everyone's mind.
There was this one, I don't follow, but now having you explain it makes sense. Delta Airlines had posted an Instagram, and it was like where you would seat the Summer I Turned Pretty characters, and they have a photo of like their first class cabin, and it says like Conrad, Connie, whatever his name is, and then a photo of the toilet in the bathroom of an airplane, and it says Jeremiah.
And so, it's just like pathetic.
Everyone's getting into it besides me.
As Sabrina Carpenter has said, man-child.
I just finished The Hunting Wives on Netflix yesterday.
Yes.
Also completely unhinged. The most wild show, but so good. I can't wait for season 2. I'm gonna save it for next week because it's a whole situation.
Okay. And that's one I do need to watch because The Summer I Turned Pretty, they only drop one episode a week. Like, how can you do that to us?
Oh, see, I like a binge session.
Oh,
so
same.
I like the whole season to drop at once. I want to sit there and watch it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll cover The Hunting Wives next week because it's top tier trash television.
Love that.
Miami continues to slap. Real Housewives of Miami. I don't know why it's getting such bad ratings, but it is so good. Orange County continues to be, which I live here, so it's just close to my heart. It continues to be. The last several seasons have been really like impossible to watch.
I just cannot get into it. There was a point in time where I was watching religiously OC Housewives, but I worked in a field and industry where you got to see those people in real life.
Yeah.
So
I will say on Miami, on the most recent episode, I was very disturbed because Adriana was going to get her dog neutered, and she basically took her dog to a doggy brothel, so he could have like
Excuse me?
sex with a dog. Apparently they exist, like, and you just pay and your dog just like gets to go get down and dirty with another dog. And
What?
it was kind of disturbing.
That
And
is
this dog is this little poodle, and he's wearing a
no.
full on like Burberry outfit or something with like a product crossbody bag on. Like this dog is all done up, and he's like, they basically just put him in this room with this other dog who also had like a ridiculous outfit on. And I'm like, I don't
He was
need
on
to.
his way to a high-class strip club.
Production was great though, because they were like switching between these two women like kind of arguing, and then it was like meanwhile ... and then it would cut to Adriana at the doggy brothel with her dog before it got neutered. That was a little disturbing.
That is, I've never heard of that.
I've never heard. I mean, besides like places like if you're gonna professionally breed your dog, like I know that those exist, but like just like for fun.
No.
Like, I mean, I guess let the dogs get it, but
I mean,
they can't say no. So like, this is what I don't understand. I mean, I guess they could bite the other dog. She seemed fine with it. I don't know.
Something doesn't feel right.
It was a little cringe to watch. Like, I would never just think of taking my dog to a place like that.
Oh, heck no. I would never.
But she's also a princess and will die a virgin because she's my little Virgin Mary over here. She's laying right here. So
she's such a lady.
Sweet pepper.
Sweet pepper girl. Any good takeaways or piece of advice as we kind of close out this episode? I feel like you had such great advice, and something that I'm trying to take away too is creating boundaries between work and life. And like you said, working from home, it's so hard. But creating set time to step away and say like, okay, laptop is shut. I'm not going to answer an email. I'm not going to look at it.
I think one thing that, I think is just so important to remember, and it kind of encapsulates, encaptures
words.
It brings it all together. Is, you can care.
Yeah.
You can be vulnerable. You can have boundaries, and you can also leave when it serves you or when it no longer serves you. So that is something I just think it's really important for everyone to remember.
Thank you guys so much for listening and tuning in. Again, give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe. We post and drop videos and podcasts every Wednesday. If there's anything that you would like us to talk about as far as emails that you've received or anything that has happened in the workplace that you'd love some insight on, we love to give our view on those topics.
Thanks for being here, everyone. I hope you brought some wine or coffee or
wherever you're
Diet
at.
Coke slaps too. And yeah, we'll see you guys soon.
Cheers.